One of the commitments of any person making reviews or vlogs is that in order to keep things happening, they must keep themselves exposed to different projects related to their work. With that said, one of the major sins that people like me can make is to not finish whatever project I discussed. I cannot quite make a review of a movie by just watching the first 20 minutes of it. In other words, there needs to be a golden rule to not judge a book by its cover, unless it's the Kama Sutra. And sadly, with this channel in particular, I ended up making those mistakes. I mean the cover part, I don't think he'd be down for the Kama Sutra. I got exposed to Caddicarus first with 5 particular videos: his ukulele review, Breath of the Wild, unpopular gaming opinions, Peppa Pig, and disappointing games. Now, everything in these videos were all good opinions to have, even if I can disagree with some of them, and I thought his Peppa video was fucking hilarious. However, it did give me the impression that his content was focused on him trying to be the opposite side, the kind of reviewer that will just have something really funny yet different to say for the sake of have something different to say, and it just didn't quite catch my interest beyond his Crash Bandicoot videos. I thought those were really interesting, but I ended up not watching his stuff afterwards, but that was until his Crash 4 review. I loved that video. I felt it covered every basis that was possible to tackle in a video without turning into a rant and keeping a pacing that anybody else would lose in a video of such length, which made me say, you know what? I was too pessimistic on this channel, and it's entertaining no matter what. Let's give it a more proper check to make a verdict out of it. And as you can figure with it being in this section of the show, I think it's a fantastic channel and I recommend it quite a lot if you're into gaming and entertainment as a whole. Now keep in mind that I haven't been able to finish watching all of his content for this video. I went for a couple of what are considered standalone videos, a few vlogs, but most importantly, the Caddicarus show. And while yes, that's still not covering everything in his channel, I want you to keep something in mind. At the time of this video, there are 14 completed seasons of Caddicarus show, at least considering the period from his worst PS4 games all up until the PS5 video as a complete season. You wanna know how much time is that worth of content? Would you say 20, 40, 50 hours? How about going up until more than 70 hours worth of content? And like I said, that's just focusing on the Caddicarus show. So we can at least add another 5 hours since I watched some of his separate reviews, retrospectives, and vlogs where he talks about one-off things like CTR having microtransactions under the reviews, or Mr. YouTube being, well, YouTube. So for the sake of keeping the principle of not judging until the end of the show, I'm going to be focusing on the Caddicarus show and I'm going to be tackling each season with my thoughts on them individually, as well as looking at them with a retrospective point of view. Just letting you know as first impression that his separate reviews are solid yet subjective as any review can be, but his vlogs are really good and being informative and thought-provoking. It's surprising how well some of those videos hold on today. But alright, let's see what we got here. Season 1. Now, I am aware that Caddy himself does not hold his old videos in a high regard beyond seeing them as his humble beginnings as far as I know, and for videos made in 2012, these are not bad at all, but I can definitely see that he didn't have a craft to work on with his videos. I just cannot help but feel a lot of JonTron vibe with his comedic approach. To be fair, when I mention JonTron, I don't say it in a bad way, it's just what comes to mind since even he mentions him at the start of the season. However, the major thing I can say in retrospective is that the first season of Caddicarus is very slow. There are a lot of jokes that last longer than they need or don't hit the timing because of that.
But like everything I like, something has to be made to compromise my faith towards it. And so, we have today, right here, right now, this bawling ape of Mount Duck.
I wouldn't consider the jokes bad in concept. I found myself laughing on a lot of those jokes. But I can say that the timing is what caused that hit and miss on this season. I'd still say you should watch it for the sake of having this good time capsule of his career, especially to see how far things have come. Season 2 of the show. Now, I cannot say that there's a lot to say on this season per se. Wow, that's a lot of saying. It's a bit more of the same, but a bit more polished. There are more skits, a bit of variety given the addition of more top videos, more creativity, and a bit more violence. I still say some of the jokes don't make the landing due to timing, but it's still an improvement.
Medon!
now again, improvements take its time and it's only apparent in retrospective. It's like eating some french fries and then eating them with honey mustard. It's still fries, it's still the same product that you enjoy, but now with something else. And Season 3 becomes into a buffet. And with this, I would like to add a bit more about what his reviews are about. The major difference that I could give to him is his zone rating system, which majorly works as a comedic thing rather than an actually critical one. There are 3 options with each game. Slaughter, which means the game is majorly not worth having around, the salvage, which kinda gives the game a pass in being something worth keeping, and the slowbage, which is an in-between for a game with pros and cons. However, like I said, beyond just considering how much he likes the games, it's not something that I will consider critical. In fact, I think it's time to give this point to his show. It's not trying to be a traditional reviewer, and by that I mean he's actually a good one. He keeps things as his own thoughts instead of talking like his thoughts are a matter of fact and it never shows a sense of malice within his thoughts. He just wants to entertain you. And I mention this because Season 3 is where I can say that he went on to rework his craft in order to get his own style of editing and sense of humor, as well as having more sketches, complete change of the timing of the jokes for the better, different locations, and the beginning of his eternal hatred saga on Phoenix games. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself a lot, but this is sort of what happens with this kind of content. It's not meant to change the wheel of content creation, but to become its own kind and stand out, while still being a wheel. Season 4 is definitely a drastic change, since this is around the time he went on to live on his own instead of the family house, which meant that the skits will be with other people and the formula will have its own change compared to the previous seasons. And quite honestly, I love this season, but it is my least favorite so far, at least in terms of content itself. It's just very random. But to be fair, anything that has the Sue race can fall into that kind of label. But videos like his Resident Evil review and Mr. Domino are really entertaining, as well as the LSD simulator. Yeah, that was also a thing, people. Season 5 is one of my favorite seasons, given how, as I mentioned, I think it's right when he pretty much perfected his craft and is one of the strongest seasons given the insane amount of topics that managed to be tackled during that entire season. Although seriously, I think this is a real deal in terms of which season solidified Caddy's style of work and what truly made him stand out. And it's also the season that gave us Caddicarus into the show. I'm a person easy to please. You give me a puppet and I smile a bit, and it clearly looks very well crafted. Call me impressed. I'd also like to shout out how this season gave us a very interesting variety of videos. PlayStation cheats, things that will scare us as kids, tips for Bloodborne, dream rosters for PlayStation All-Stars, because again, we all wanted that shit to be good. I'm serious, if you're looking for a good starting point for binge watching the show, start from here. And it only gets better from that point on with Season 6, which had the same amount of topics and simply went bigger. Bubsy 3D, disappointing games, Scooby-Doo, what is wrong with you, and my personal favorite video of the season, his Wipeout review. I never heard of this series until now, and as far as I knew, Wipeout was just a funny yet shitty athletic show. But now this is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 1, and I really wish I can find a chance to play the PS4 games sometime in the near future. And I do mention that one specifically since a lot of the other stuff is either a game that I have already played, like Bugs Life, which is really good, something that's majorly fun for a video and nothing more like Stuart Little, or just something that I will call the police if you try to make me play it. Season 7 is majorly memorable due to the fact that it's from this point on where he gets more determined to refresh himself, more specifically adapting some of his previous works on Crash Bandicoot, Cash Benuka, into his current format of work, as well as adding a few extra elements like a movie review, unpopular opinions, and Spice World. And yeah, I didn't say everything was good. It's the season with Enter the Dragonfly. You can only do so much, okay? Season 8 is when I can say that Caddy kinda lost himself yet loves where he's at. From Simba's Shitty Adventure to literally reviewing nursery rhymes on a VHS, or even getting into Peppa Pig and saying what everybody wanted to say. Caddicarus is the voice of the people, so I guess we're really doomed. There's a lot of points in which the season just gives up and says, fuck it, let's just talk about a lot of moments in which I felt traumatized as a kid. Yay, fun! No, but seriously, this is probably the most experimental season so far, and I cannot help but think you will get into something if you watch the season under the influence.
That tastes nice. You like eating peppers inside?
Not really.
Oh.
Season 9 is the one with the most topics up until this point, with 20 different videos to watch, and unintentionally, it feels like the most rewarding for fans. You got the insane trilogy collaboration with So Call Me Johnny, as well as the GBA Crash Bandicoot games, Toy Story 2, which is one of the best licensed games of all time, but you also have Doom, Ridge Racer, Peppa Pig on the DS, Silent Hill, Mega Man 8. This is just a season that only feels better if you've enjoyed his content previously. So please do not watch the season without watching anything else beforehand, recent or older. And the same can be said about Season 10, but I could say it's a more personal version of Season 9, which gives it its own value worth seeing. And I'm not saying it on a controversial way. I mean, you have more nursery videos as well as the beginning of Crash Bandicoot month. But you also have the return of Caddicarus, a video on Bugs Life which was also highly requested, and even some funny bits with SpongeBob and the birth of Breeds.
Regarding her breeds and buttocks.
Yes! Breeds! Breeds!
So yeah, a very solid season, and it gets a bit more personal just for Bandicoot month alone. Season 11 is probably my most biased one, since it has a lot of amazing topics, as well as some of the worst shit I've ever seen. Like, I love Theme Park on the PS1, but I fucking hate Bobsy on the PS4. His Mega Man retrospective was really entertaining, but I want to murder whatever this is.
Okay, well
And I love just watching support and awareness on Red Dead Redemption 2. But him making a top 10 of bad things from Reunited Trilogy makes me want to cancel him on Twitter. I'm kidding! Now, Season 12 is one of his best seasons, but it's also the one that convinced me to make a video. Because Jesus Christ, the fact that I had enough time to watch this over 7-hour long season makes me want to fucking shoot myself. I should not have this much free time, my life is a mess. I don't know, Caddy, you're the one that made this much content, you muppet! This season pretty much makes me think that Caddy decided to say fuck it, I'm doing whatever, however, whenever. If you can think of any top tier video about Crash Bandicoot, what would you make it about? Did you say Crash Bandicoot bots? Because that's what he did! And even though this is not my favorite season, I think this is the definitive season of Caddicarus. Not only because of the length of the season, but it shows a lot of important elements about Sony and the gaming industry that we probably don't think too much about them. There's a video about box art differences that is just a thing that's always been odd to the eyes, yet I don't think people talk about it that much, and it's kinda good we don't see that happening as it used to be. But I am curious about something. I mean, Caddy has a family, like a loving couple and kids he takes care of, yet he has no hesitation sleeping with the glove he found on Tinder.
Hey babe, how you doing? Jesus, what have I done? Oh.
Season 13 is an interesting one, majorly for one reason. It's the last one that he has made that's related to the original reviewing format. Yeah, after this, with the exception of Crash 4, we will no longer get reviews to one dedicated game. And I will say that Death Stranding and Jedi Fallen Order will be the last showcases of this format on the Caddicarus show. Which, I mean, it was bound to happen before even noticing it. It was on Season 10 that we stopped getting the slaughter salvage birding on games, which I do think is healthier for a reviewer online to just make his thoughts speak for themselves instead of a verdict. But it was definitely something that showed the change of his work.
The debut album from aspiring rapper Peppa Pig.
With him stopping to review in singular games on his videos being the latest shift of his style. And I can hold his final season at the time of this video my favorite season of the 70 hours of marathon that I enjoyed, and for one major reason.
I'm just kidding, it's cars again.
He's completely psychotic. Not only is season 14 the longest by a long shot with over 10 hours of length, it's also the most random and creative thing I have seen from a reviewer since Some Call Me Johnny's Donators Marathon. You have videos talking about demo disc, spending money on bad games like the privileged white man he is, video game magazines and how cringy they can get, games for babies, and domestic violence jokes.
Caddy, I'm tired.
I don't care. I spent a lot of money on this game for you, so you're going to sit there and enjoy it.
My thumb hurts.
No, no, that's not enough. You will play. You will hold that button and you will play this game and you'll love it. Yeah? Don't make me get the belt out.
Roasting Yourself, Gaming in the Clinton Years, which is my favorite video of his entire channel if the references didn't say it already.
God, I mentioned it, didn't I? The Toy Story review. This is one of the more popular ones on the channel, and for good reason. It's completely psychotic.
Cute, but again, cheating spoils all the fun.
So don't cheat then, you muppet!
Getting all the platinum relics, playing all of the bad Crash Bandicoot games possible, Pixar games in which apparently the Cars video games are actually great to play, unlike the DreamWorks games and original Lego games that are not based on other properties, skateboard games, the Crash 4 video that pretty much made this review happen, and finally the PS5 review, which proves yet again why you should not get consoles at launch, given how the world just fucking loses itself every time that happens. This is not only my favorite season, but I think the best season of the entire show. Don't misunderstand me. If I have made this entire retrospective, it's because I genuinely think there's value on watching all of the series. Not only because I think it's fair to see how everything started and how far he has come, but because, as I have shown so far, there's a genuine level of quality and effort that even if he can judge his work, I see the effort on all of these videos. Not to mention, as I stated at the beginning, this is not all the channel has to offer. This is just the part I felt more competent to talk about. He has vlogs talking about parental education for the online world, a lot of issues with YouTube, discussing the very mixed bag that is State of Play, and how he apparently ruins things for people because he calls them out when wanting to ban scary things because they're scary. My god, I hate people. If there's anything to take from this video, is that as someone that has made this show out of passion for the online community and how both the content and its people should be treated with the same respect as traditional platforms, is to always give things a caring chance. Because even if I watched 5 complete videos of his and enjoyed some of those back then, I simply did not give the channel the proper chance to really get into it. I watched those videos without thinking too much about it due to my own impressions. And that is not a right thing to do at all, especially with my current perspective on things. I wouldn't have felt good about myself making content and improving if I hadn't really sat down, taken my time and give the Caddicarus show the chance and viewership that rightfully deserved. I put this section as also an epilogue to my special on YouTube called JuneTube, because while I didn't grow up with this channel like I did with the other 29 channels I mentioned, I think my enjoyment with this one works as a statement of why this section even exists for me, to show that the online world and its creators will always have something for you to enjoy, but the only thing left is that we discover them and give them a watch. You will always have something new to enjoy and it will always surprise you anytime. So with that said, even though it may not be a big deal for some, Caddy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for not giving your content a fair chance in the past. I was clearly wrong and now I cannot recommend your content enough for those that are looking for both good gaming videos and great comedy videos. I really recommend it even for those not into video games but want a good laugh. So with that, I hope this video was entertaining for all of you, and this time, thank you for listening, and most importantly, if it's your birthday today, then happy freaking birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.